Good morning. It is Sunday, 11:21. It's February 22nd, and I'm feeling gold this morning, guys. I'm pretty gold. Just literally watched the U.S. men's hockey team. If you're, well, I guess I gave it away. I was going to say spoiler alert, but I think you probably understand where I'm going with this. Another overtime gold medal game winner for the U.S. hockey. This time the men did it. Did you guys both see this live? I was trying to just scramble, get the studio ready, watching hockey. I was like, I had a lot going on. I was multitasking over here. But yeah, men's hockey team wins gold in Milan. So clean sweep for U.S. hockey.
Yeah.
Maybe a little unexpected. I think a lot of people were looking at Canada as, probably the more powerful team. But yeah, man, you go to overtime, anything can happen. And the men win it 2-1. Who got the game winner? I didn't actually. Why do I not have that in my notes right in front of me?
I do not remember.
Oh my god,
I don't know names too well. I just watched it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge hockey fan, but I'll tell you what, that 3-on-3 was so much fun to watch. It seemed faster. I love it just seemed like they were interchanging between each other really quick and just trying to set up offense. It was, especially Canada. It was a lot of fun, and it was really cool that USA got the goal. It was really awesome that afterwards they skated around holding up Johnny Gaudreau's jersey to show the crowd, which was really, really awesome. Obviously he should have been there, but I tweeted out he was definitely smiling from heaven for sure. Really, really awesome. First time since the 80s, since the miracle, right? That U.S. men's hockey has won gold. So really sweet.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed. I like I said, didn't know what to expect. It was Jack Hughes. Sorry about that, man. It took me a lot longer than it should have. Jack Hughes got the game winner. So yeah, congratulations to the U.S. men's hockey team. Sorry I wasn't prepared. Like I said, it was a little multitasking going on over here. But regardless, welcome. That's not what we wanted. What is that doing up there? Why is that there? That's not what I clicked on. Wait, it's going to be a technical difficulty kind of a Sunday. I can tell you that right now.
It is not the Super Bowl today, fellas.
No, it's not the Super Bowl. Anyway, welcome to the actual. See that why? It's a puzzling Sunday. Listen, it was warm, you guys. Remember when it was warm? It was like 62 degrees the other day. My yard and my driveway are covered with snow again. It looks like we're going to get about a half a foot here.
Wow.
Got an inch or two, and it's just like it was gone. So that bothered me this morning, but whatever. We've got a pretty good show for you. We're going to talk about the Browns coaching staff. We are going to talk about I just want to get Ryan's opinion on some of the coordinators and a little bit of a lack of experience in some areas, or all areas for that matter, for the coordinators. That's okay. I'm sure they'll figure it out on the fly. The Browns always do. They always put a winning product on the field, so we don't have to worry about anything there. Anyway, yeah, we're going to get to – well, look, we're going to do a Winter Olympics update. We'll get to that. My medal count is a little bit outdated. I apologize, but you can add one to the list. I think we'll be okay. We will talk about Cavs Thunder today, just really right after we get off the air here. The Cavs are going to play OKC in Oklahoma. I'm looking forward. Listen, man, I don't know, maybe the two best teams going right now. I know record-wise there are a few teams in front of the Cavs, but I mean, as far as like how well everybody's playing, it's been a few games with James Harden. I know we should probably take it easy, and we'll see what happens today against OKC.
I'm not taking it easy. I'm ready to take a victory lap.
Yeah, pedal to the gold medal. No, let's not do that. And then we'll obviously Ryan Mossor's big board. We're going to talk quarterbacks and tight ends today. We were going to talk running backs, but we vetoed. The Browns don't really need a running back, right? There's no need to. I don't think we're going to draft a running back, so we'll get off of that. We'll talk quarterbacks because you could conceivably make a case for the Browns possibly wanting to draft quarterback. I get that. I see it. Oh, Raul asks real quick, what's up, Raul? Yes, did the Jamaican bobsled team do better than the U.S. team? Probably. I mean, you have to ask Senka. I have no idea. I did just fine.
Most people say they won't believe.
It's one of my favorite John Candy movies, by the way. I miss John Candy.
It's so good.
It's great. Headlines. Do have a little bit of sad news real quick. I just wanted to Rondell Moore passed away yesterday at the age of 25. Just really took me aback. I mean, it shocked me to hear this news. Sad news. I vividly remember him in that Purdue-Ohio State game in 2018, just being absolutely uncoverable. And I just kind of put a little check in the box. I was like, okay, this is kind of one of my favorite guys to watch. Always hoped he'd do, really big things in the NFL. It always looked like he had a ton of potential, a lot of injuries. Not really sure, some of the circumstances. The information's out there. Don't really want to speculate on it too much or get into it. But Rondell Moore, passed away at 25. So rest in peace to Rondell Moore. It's really sad news. Hated to hear that yesterday. Yeah, that was just sad. Yeah, exactly. Raul says sad, too young. Yeah, that was bad news, man. So prayers for his family. Obviously, thinking of everyone involved, and just tough news this morning. I do want to get on to a little bit of a Winter Olympics update, though. We got to talk about all right, this is our Olympic update, right? Guys, it's winding down. This is the last day of the Olympics. Ryan, you were just saying it's like, thank goodness, like it's hard to. I feel like I want to watch everything. It's impossible to catch up. It almost makes you feel like a little bit anxious to try to catch everything. It's like you don't know what's live. You don't know, really what's going on at all. Yeah. Sometimes you can watch a replay for close to an hour and not even know.
Yeah, I was just telling them a story. Yeah, I was watching the alpine skiing where they're going, I think it's long distance or speed or whatever. And the guy got second place the first time he medaled since the 70s. And then I thought it was live, and it was like an hour or two prior. So it was just pretty funny. So, yeah.
I've been watching things I thought was live, but the feed just ends. And I'm like, wait, I'm like, what? And then I go back to the actual, it's actually like figure skating. It's always figure skating or curling, I noticed. Like that's what's been live. When you hit the live, it's either figure skating or curling, especially like the first 10 days of the Olympics. But yeah, a lot of great individual performances. We'll get the outdated medal count now. You can add one more. You can check one more box on the USA for the total medal and the gold medal count there. They have 33 and 12, but Norway still by far and away the leaders with 41 total medals and 18 golds. Italy, the host country, hanging in there at third. They've got 30 total medals and 10 golds. Oh, man. TK, how you feel about the U.S. winning gold this morning, man? I mean, it's got into the bad news. Let's get into the good news again, man.
Pretty good to be an American today. Really didn't expect those guys to pull it off. Like you said, I thought, Canada's the overwhelming favorite. And rightfully so. Canada is a hockey haven, always has been, always will be. But yeah, it was definitely refreshing to see those guys pull it out in an overtime game. You think of that game, they only had 28 shots on goal compared to Canada's 42, which I thought was a weird disparity, how we were able to pull that off. I mean, you think, both goaltenders overall still had a pretty solid outing. But, to do it in overtime with 14 less shots on goal, I thought that was the most impressive thing. Obviously, Jackie Hughes netting the game winner, like you mentioned earlier. Yeah, it was pretty good for the U.S. This weekend as far as hockey goes. I was very proud of both the women's and men's team being able to get the gold this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a little production quality for you right for this. You got the red, white, and blue. Hey, all right. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, congratulations to the men's team. I thought that was awesome. Again, just huge. I'm shocked. I'm not shocked. I'm a little surprised. Another great gold medal match. Really a lot of fun to watch. So got a lot going on in the background here at my house. Sorry about that. Anyway, that was the outdated medal count. Ryan, I want to get your take on something that happened over the weekend. We got not a lot, a little bit of confirmation on some coordinators for the Browns, right? So Todd Monken and company have kind of filled out the staff. We've got an offensive coordinator, right? We've got a defensive coordinator. We've got a special teams coordinator. Let's start with the side of the ball that needs the most help. Let's start with Travis Switzer. Officially named the offensive coordinator. We've known for a couple of weeks he was going to be the guy. Are you still? How do you feel? Again, no experience at the offensive coordinator position in the NFL for Switzer. Does that make you pause? Are you worried about that at all? How do you feel about Switzer?
I don't pause. I'm expecting guys to have little to no experience come into this position. Guys they're looking for upper comers. They're looking. I mean, obviously, Todd Monken, he's been around the block a ton. I'm not saying he's necessarily an up-and-comer, but especially with coordinators, they looked at Shieldhouse, they looked at Udinsky, they looked at these guys. So it doesn't necessarily surprise me, especially since he has the the history with Todd Monken specifically. I do think, it does fit perfectly with the Browns and what they're trying to build under Todd Monken for sure. I mean, when you look at his background, his rise, and, the way he helped the shape Baltimore's offense, it becomes obvious why Monken wanted him here. Switzer spent 9 years with the Ravens, climbing from performance assistants to run game coordinator, and every step of that journey built him, into one of the most versatile young coaches in the league. He's respected throughout the league as well. He's worked with offensive linemen, tight ends, receivers. He's done analytics. Run game design. That's a full field understanding of how an offense actually functions, not just one position room. The production backs it up. Under Switzer, the Ravens put together some of the most dominant rushing seasons we've seen in modern football. Derrick Henry had 2 of the best years of his career. The Ravens led the league in explosive runs. The run game wasn't just efficient; it forced defenses to play on their heels, which opened up play action, made life easier for Lamar Jackson, definitely too. That's the kind of structure that stabilizes a young quarterback like Shedeur Sanders or somebody, hopefully somebody else. Not hopefully, I just want the right quarterback. Yeah, hopefully, Shedeur is the guy, but nonetheless, just helps a young quarterback, and creates a cleaner opportunities for receivers like Judy, Tillman, Corley, Bond, or whoever else we draft. What specifically he brings to Cleveland, it's a fully modern multiple run game, gap, zone, counter, pin pool, heavy personnel, all of it. It's physical. It travels in AFC North weather, obviously, and it gives the Browns an identity that they've lacked. It also puts a spotlight on tight ends, especially Harold Fenner Jr., who fits the Mark Andrews usage mold in this system. That tight end too also, probably not Njoku. I don't think he'll return, but becomes a movable chess piece who can stress defensive horizontally. The running back room benefits across the board in the offensive line once it's rebuilt, or I guess built. I don't know. We don't have one right now. Will be asked to play with more clarity and purpose than they have in years as well. But the most important part of this hire, I think, is that relationship with Todd Monken. They've worked together for 3 seasons in Baltimore, and Switzer was widely viewed as like Monken's right-hand man. They share terminology, philosophy, and unified vision of how the run game and pass game should marry each other, and I think that's huge. That terminology, there's not going to be a learning period between coaches. They can just go in and immediately start teaching. Monken handles the passing architecture, the spacing, and quarterback development, and Switzer builds the run game engine that everything else runs off of. I think it's clean. It's a cohesive partnership, not 2 separate ideas stapled together. I do like the hire. Obviously, you're gonna have to teach, show us, instead of just these are all words until we actually see it. But I think it's intentional. I think it's aligned, and it gives the Browns a young ascending coach who fits exactly what Monken wants to build. Switzer isn't just an offensive coordinator. I think he's a long-term partner in shaping the identity of this offense. And for the first time in a long time, the Browns have a clear, modern, unified direction on that side of the ball. I really hope this works out.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everything's all worked until we see it in action. But yeah, I mean, that's okay. It's here's the thing. And Raul, you're right. He says he doesn't have a Lamar Jackson
for sure. Yeah.
And I think the one takeaway out of all of that you said, and yeah, Raul, like I said, you're right. You're exactly right. But we'll see what Shedeur Sanders develops into. But like I said, I think the one takeaway out of everything that you said there is I think it's a good thing. The Browns should be able to put the Dude Wipe sponsorship to good use because, like you said, explosive runs. And I think that that may not be great, but are we talking about a different kind of explosive runs? Am I off? Okay, I did something wrong. That's fine. You guys are looking at me like I did something wrong. That's okay. We're gonna move on because I think it's easier to do. Let's just move on to the defensive coordinator. And we don't have to worry about, hopefully no explosive runs there. That's one area where you really don't want explosive runs is on the defense. So Mike Rutenberg, who I think I spent the first 3 days calling Mike Gutenberg. I don't know why. I say I see the R, but somehow the English is weird. Sometimes R's are G's, so whatever. It's Mike Rutenberg, not Mike Gutenberg. How you feeling about the defense being in Rutenberg's hands?
Again, I mean, he's an unproven guy, at least at this position. I don't think they necessarily, just hired a defensive coordinator here, though. I think they hired a coach. I think he's been groomed by a lot of, the best defensive minds in football. Robert Saleh, Jeff Ulbrich, Dan Quinn, Gus Bradley, Todd Bowles, I think Raheem Morris as well. and he's stepping into one of the most favorable situations as well in the league. I mean, he inherits a Super Bowl caliber defense. I don't take that lightly. This Browns defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense.
Yeah.
The problem was obviously the offense. I mean, in a unit that already knows who it is, already plays with an edge. They already have the personnel to overwhelm offenses as well. I mean, he's got the unanimous 2025, Defensive Player of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year. That alone gives him, a smoother runway than most first-time coordinators get, I think. What makes Rudeberg such an intriguing fit, I guess, is the path I took to get here. He worked under Robert Saleh at multiple stops, been shaped by Jeff Ulbrich, like I said, spent years learning details of the modern coverage systems. Those guys rave about him. They absolutely love him, not because he's loud or flashy, because he's one of the best teachers that they've ever had in the rooms. That's quotes coming from them. He's known for clarity, communication, and the ability to take complicated coverage rules and make them digestible for players at every level of this defense. His most recent work in Atlanta is a great example of that as well. He most recently with the Falcons was the defensive pass game coordinator. He helped tighten up the secondary, and they definitely struggled with consistency before him. They became more disciplined, more connected, harder to manipulate. Opponents had to work, for every completion. That's the kind of detail-oriented improvement that translates directly to a roster like Cleveland specifically, a roster that's loaded with talent but still capable of becoming more unpredictable at the back end. What I like about this hire, he's not coming to tear anything down. He's coming to elevate what already works. The Browns front four is still going to be at the heart of this defense. The corners are still going to be aggressive and competitive. The linebackers are still going to be fast and disruptive. Rudenberg's job is to add layers, more disguise, more variation, more answers that offenses that figured out how to attack Cleveland late in the year. He's going to be able to hopefully answer some of those, the disconnect at the end of the year, I guess. Sorry, I lost my plot here.
That's okay. I think some of that disconnect was just exhaustion, by the way, too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, he understands how to blend man and zone. He uses motion to his advantage as well, and he keeps quarterbacks guessing without losing the physical identity the defense is built on. And with Todd Monken, with that perspective, this hire makes sense for me. Monken wanted somebody who can maintain the standard of Jim Schwartz set while also bringing in fresh ideas. He wanted a communicator, wanted a teacher, wanted something that could, match the intensity of the players in that locker room. I think he does check all those boxes. Monken even said his energy and presence stood out immediately, which is notable. And that matters when you're talking, when you're taking over a group that has this much talent and expectations. I do like the hire. I think it's smart. Once again, we'll see. We have to see what these guys do once again. But, I think it does give the Browns a defensive coordinator who fits the roster, who fits the culture or the culture they want to instill. And it fits the moment. And, he has a pedigree. He has the mentors. He has the teaching ability to keep this defense playing at a championship level. And, with that talent that he's inheriting, it's a real chance to hit the ground running. So.
Feels TK, this is something you and I didn't really get into yesterday. It feels a little bit like almost like a stepdad walking into an established family, right? Like he's like they just the way that the Browns parted with Jim Schwartz obviously wasn't ideal or expected. Maybe it should have been expected. I mean, I don't know. Speaking of communication, boy, big lack of communication maybe on their end there. But it just feels like he's walking into a situation where he's kind of got a. I don't know. You tread lightly. You want to take over from day one, but you also, like you said, Ryan's not here to tear anything down. Not switching from not going from a 3-4 to a 4-3 or vice versa, anything like that. Nothing crazy. Same basic schemes. You would think he would probably take some pages maybe from Mike McDonald in Seattle of, like you said, just disguising some coverages, maybe masking some blitzes, a little bit of some stunts up front, whatever, anything to create some just. I guess some kind of a pass rush in that front seven with maybe not trying to use seven. If we can use four guys and get to the quarterback, that's great. Seattle was very, very good at that all year, especially saw it in the playoffs. But TK, doesn't it feel like, I don't know, he's like, you want to, like I said, you want to come in and show like, hey, this is my defense day one, but you also have to tread lightly, right?
Oh, absolutely. Here's the big thing for Gutenberg that he needs to remember. Much like what Todd Monken has been brought in to do, for the Cleveland Browns is you need to do something that works for the players, regardless of who's there or what the system results of. You need to be able to form things around the talent that you have and to make them work. From Mike Gutenberg, like Ryan reiterated multiple times, this is a Super Bowl caliber defense.
Yeah. Yes.
You have multiple All-Pro players, especially with the sack leader, Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, Carson Swester winning Defensive Rookie of the Year, Mason Graham, and obviously, Devin Bush having the career renaissance that he's having with us. Definitely got to bring him back in free agency. What he needs to do is not overthink things. There's no reason to have multiple sets. I mean, if you want to have that, I guess it's fine to just have something else in the repertoire as far as the schematics go on the defensive side of the ball. But for the most part, just stick to the 4-3, stick to the 4-2-5. You got great players. You're playing to your personnel. And again, just don't overthink things. This isn't rocket science. You do have a very good defense. Just hoping for the offense to step up and play better next year.
Yeah. Really would like to see a lot of improvement on offense. Don't know at this point because, as Ryan alluded to earlier, we do not have an offensive line at this point. We're probably going to be TK. You and I talked about it yesterday. First team since 1970 to lose their entire offensive line to free agency.
Or retirement, yeah.
Or retirement. Or
I don't know. There's rumors, Batonio, they pushed it back a little bit. Maybe he'll come back, but
it still feels like he's on the way out. But you never know. I mean, I don't know what he's got left in the tank, and that's not a knock on him. It's just that he's given everything he's possibly seems like been able to give for the last decade plus here. But man, it's hard to believe it's been this long with some of these guys already, and we still haven't built anything around them to actually go anywhere offensively. Man, some of the offensive lines that they had. For that matter, some of the defensive lines that they had, just some of the players overall. I mean, Raul said it, 54, 79-1 with Garrett. Unfortunately, right now he feels a little bit like the new Joe Thomas, where it's like you have the best player in the league, unquestionably at this position, right? And you're watching him do his thing for years and years and years, and you still can't put a winner around him. And it's very frustrating. Thoughts on Byron Storer as we continue to call Mike Gutenberg on this show. I'm so sorry. That's my fault. It's contagious. I did it. It's my bad. I'm sorry. It's Mike Rutenberg. We are rooting for Mike Rutenberg. I don't know, Ryan. Byron Storer, special teams coordinator. I think at this point the perception is anything's better than Bubba Ventrone, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have too much to say about him. Actually, I forgot to prep on him. Honestly, nonetheless, we'll see if the Bubba's situation was because of him or because of the Browns. I mean, he still got hired at a really good job, and we'll see. But nonetheless,
steps right up. The Rams right up too.
Yeah, well, I mean, he alluded to personnel, obviously, and I mean, there was a clear disconnect with our special teams. Hopefully with Smite, we have a kicker finally, Schmidt, whatever. Nonetheless, but yeah, I don't want to speak about those. I didn't do prep on him, so I don't really,
Fair enough. Well, I think the biggest thing that you really need to know about Storer is from 22 to 24, the Packers. He was a special teams assistant with the Packers at that point. The biggest thing, and sometimes, like I said, these are just they're adjacent to success, so they can't pick that guy up, right? But they did lead the league. They had 28 kickoff returns of 30+ yards for those 3 seasons. So TK and I talked about it yesterday. Any little bit helps, right? Like any little field position advantage helps. When you've got an offense that's kind of vertically challenged, it doesn't feel so. The field's just not so heavy, so to speak, right? When you're starting on your 18, 20, whatever. If you can get out to the 30, 35, and 40, dare we say, and shorten these fields up a little bit and play this, just start to play that field position game. That helps a little bit. So whatever. I just think lack of experience at every coordinator position. I don't know that it really concerns me. I mean, it's not like we're not asking these guys to come in and sustain some crazy success that the Browns have had over the last 2 seasons at 8-26. Maybe for that matter, it is nice to just have a couple of fresh faces in some some of these places. And I think there's evidence here that we're letting Todd Monken fill out the staff as opposed to like it being a conglomerate effort between the front office and the ownership, which I think is perfect. I mean, you want a head coach to be comfortable with his staff. You got to know these guys. I mean, you don't want to spend the first 3-4 weeks trying to get to know each other and bouncing off how who works with who well, and how, like, when you know the guys, all you have to do is terminology and just basic strategy. I think that's a better way to get off the ground running, so to speak. So I think that's good. When we come back, we're going to take a break. We'll briefly talk. The Cavs have a big game today. I know everybody's eyes are on the ice or whatever. The U.S. men's hockey team just won gold, but the Cavs have a really big test. Maybe their biggest test. I mean, they played the Nuggets. Seems like months ago. The All-Star break felt like it lasted like a week and a half for some reason. But so they're going to go to OKC and play the Thunder, best team in basketball right now. A lot of people think just a sure title contender, probably are in OKC. TK does not agree. He said, I'm out of here. I don't have to listen to this crap. So he left us, but that's fine. And maybe he doesn't want to talk Cavs. We'll find out when we come back. But like I said, we're going to take a break. We'll be gone for about 5 minutes. We'll come back to talk Cavs Thunder just briefly, and then we'll get into Ryan Mossor's big board, where we will talk about quarterbacks and tight ends today. Of course, we can make a case for either of those positions being necessary. Maybe not, in the first round, so per se, but we can talk about that when we get to it. But first, I want to remind you, our network sponsor for the entire Inside Edge net is Alley Rose Fragrances. Discover Alley Rose's collection of handcrafted candles and body mists made with clean, minimal ingredients. Every single product here, first of all, it's made in the U.S. It's handmade right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Thoughtfully created in small batches, free from harmful toxins for mindful everyday indulgence. Head over to AlleyRoseFragrances.com right now to order and use our special promo code InsideEdge20. You see it there on your screen, capital I, capital E. That's all one word, InsideEdge20, to receive a special discount. You can get 20% off your order, off your entire order. My wife yesterday, was it yesterday? I don't even know. Yesterday in the office, she was working. She had the Autumn Day. Autumn Day is one of the scents that we ordered from Alley Rose Fragrances, and it smelled amazing. I mean, it smelled so clean. I didn't want to leave her office. I was probably bugging her a little bit while she was trying to work, but I was sitting there just smelling it. So please remember to visit our sponsor and use the code InsideEdge20 to get 20% off your entire order. Like I said, we're going to go to break. We will be right back in about 5 minutes here on the Inside Edge Network. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right, welcome back, guys. Never know what's going to happen on the Inside Edge Network. It's never really know. Welcome back to the Sunday Sports Show. We are we're gonna switch gears a little bit. We talked Browns, talked a little bit of Winter Olympics, our men's hockey update, won the gold. We're gonna get some eye care tips from TK in a little bit. Just tell you how to keep your eyes, nice and moist in this crazy dry weather. Mine are bugging me too, TK. Don't worry about it, man. No, we're gonna talk Cavs. We gotta talk Cavs, and listen, they're gonna go to OKC today to play the Thunder, and just quite honestly, they're playing really, I think, what a lot of people consider to be the best team in basketball in Oklahoma City, and I think it's the first really big. Well, the Nuggets were probably the first big test. This is the next. This is, I think, the test that we're all looking for. We just want to see what the James Harden era Cavs look like going against the best team in basketball, right? I don't know if actually. Do you guys know if Evan Mobley is playing today? I'm not 100% sure on that. I know he played the other night, then took a day off. I don't know if he's kind of a every other day type of situation right now. I'm not really sure if Mobley's playing today, but that game's going to tip off here in about an hour. TK, well, well, all right. When TK gets back in here, we'll see if he has any thoughts. I guess for now, Ryan and I are going to stumble over this. Well, hold on. Wait a minute. We got a TK sighting. All right, he's back. TK, I'm sorry I offended you. I did not mean to ask you about the Cavaliers, buddy. You're not a Cavs thing? Oh, you got the Cavs hat on. You must be fine. Thoughts on Cavs OKC before we lose you again, man. How do you feel about this one today?
I'm really excited about this one. This is, yet again another huge test for us. The first matchup was absolutely god awful. I'm hoping, if we don't, pull out the win outright, that it's at least more competitive than what it was the first time around. I mean, that was just god awful. Obviously, the team's a little bit different now. We got new rotation going in. We've got some guys coming back healthy. Paycom Center is going to be on fire in about an hour, so this is going to be a really good game.
Yeah. Forward to it. How do I watch this game? Where is it? Today? Is it on TV? It looks like it's on. Is it on ABC? Is that right? Is it national? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
nice.
Check that out. Like I said, about the time we get off of here, that'll be tipping off around 1:00 today. So that may be out of here just a little bit before that, but. Looking forward to it. I'm not going to break it down too much. I mean, it is what it is at this point. We'll save all the in-depth breakdowns until we get to, playoff basketball, maybe basketball that matters just a little bit more than regular season. We like the regular season. The NBA is fine, but we'll save that for when we get to the playoffs and we kind of figure out what, the rotation looks like, how many guys deep are going into the bench, things like that. Health, by the way, need Max Strus and Evan Mobley back in there full time, and then we'll have more of an idea of what they look like. So, but again, looking forward to the test today.
Yeah.
That was January 19th, right? When they played last. Yeah. 136-104. Not great. Not ideal. So
totally different team.
What's that?
We have a totally different team. That's fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. 100% totally different. Different mindset, different mentality. Hopefully seems a little mentally tougher now, with Keon Ellis, Schroeder and Harden out there. Well, speaking of a different mindset, different outlook, Ryan Mossor has been doing some heavy lifting with his big board.
This guy.
As a result, you heard him last week. He said, "What's that scrawny body? No more of that." So he literally took the week to do some heavy lifting. So now today, we're gonna go to Ryan Mossor's big board, man. We're gonna talk running backs. No, we're not going to talk running backs. We're going to talk quarterbacks.
Oh, my gosh.
We're going to talk tight ends, and you see the result. I mean, listen, stick with it, guys. 5-6 days of lifting, and you can go from, the gray suit, the scrawny body to this. I mean, you can look like this in 5 or 6 days. All you have to do is just hit the big board running and do some heavy lifting, do the work. So let's get right into Ryan Mossor's big
so
board.
Dumb.
Is that better or no? We got nothing. Okay, we were going to talk tight ends, and I did not change that graphic. We were going to talk running backs. We decided to skip over that because I don't think the Browns really. I don't listen. If Andrew Berry drafts 2 running backs in this draft, we'd have a whole other problem. But I think they're going to probably stay away from running backs in this one. So we'll see. I mean, we don't know about Quinshon Judkins' recovery. We don't know Nothing's really been made public. I was TK and I talked about it yesterday, Ryan. We used to get the squat videos all the time of Nick Chubb, right? Like he would have kind of a knee injury, and then like here he's squatting like 2 Ford F-250s or whatever, and you're like, oh, he's gonna be fine for the season. So we don't get those from Judkins, and that's okay. Certainly doesn't have to do that. But we just don't know where he is in the recovery right now. We assume he's going to be ready to go at some point. I don't know about week 1 or whatever, but we will see. I'm sure we'll hear an update soon. But I don't think the Browns are going to draft a running back either way. So let's get into quarterbacks. You could make a case. I've seen that a lot of people think the Browns may go like Jarrett Nussmeier in the second round. I've seen a couple of quarterbacks maybe off the board second, third round. But I don't care about what other people say, Ryan. I want to hear what your big you tell me maybe some of the top quarterbacks. If the Browns were going to go crazy and try to draft somebody at 6, might it be otherwise? Just tell me some of your top quarterbacks. You tell me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they should draft a quarterback in this draft. Just to be clear, even in any round, nonetheless. Before I start, for those who have been watching the past few weeks, I've talked about how I've been developing this draft profile algorithm where it basically I work with it and it ranks a lot of these prospects as I'm going through their film and stuff. And right now I'm almost through all the positions. I got all offense done and a couple positions in defense. I'm working on a defensive end right now, and I got a top new player on my big board, which is fun. It was Cardinal Tate for a while, but now it's a David Bailey from Texas A&M. I'm really excited about that just because, it's working. It's pretty fun. But this is not going off track here. This is not a mock draft. This is not necessarily going to be consensus because I'm doing NFL draft projections. I'm breaking down all of the attributes and, ranking them and doing weighted scales and things like that. So just because if I have a guy, maybe as QB2, QB3, it doesn't mean necessarily they're going to be a first round pick. They could be a 6th round pick, but, it's just how their game translates to the NFL compared to the other players. So just that, getting through that. I'll go for my first quarterback. My first quarterback in my big board is actually Fernando Mendoza, of course, QB out of Indiana. He's the QB1 on my draft board. Mendoza sits at the top of the board because he brings the exact blend of size, poise, and mental command that translates on Sundays. At 6'5", around 220, he looks the part immediately in the NFL. Long-armed, balanced, built with modern game. Especially in the pocket. What really separates him isn't the frame, it's how he plays within structure. I think he has he's a rhythm passer through and through. His game is built on timing, anticipation, and advanced understanding of how to manipulate space. His journey reflects that that maturity as well. He was thrown into the fire early at Cal and handled it with a level of composure that you don't usually see from a young quarterback. To move to Indiana only to sharpen the edges, go against tougher defenses, tighter windows, and more responsibility at the line of scrimmage. Coaches have raved about how quickly he processes information and how consistently he prepares. You see that on tape as well. He diagnoses coverages pre-snap, confirms post-snap, and works through progressions without drifting or panicking. I think what stands out the most is how controlled he is. He doesn't rush. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't let pressure speed him up. You saw that against Ohio State when Caden Curry, very first play, just knocked him on his ass, and he got right back up and is ready to go again. His pocket movement is subtle but polished. He does small climbs, he efficient resets, and a base that stays intact even when things get muddy in the pocket. That's why his accuracy holds up, I think. He's especially sharp in the intermediate game where his touch and placement allow receivers to stay in stride and create after the catch. He's not a big arm quarterback, but he has more than enough velocity and one of the cleaner layering abilities in this class. Athletically, he's exactly what you expect. Functional, not featured. He can extend, keep plays alive, and he's always looking to throw that ball. His mechanics are consistent. His sequencing is clean. He rarely puts the ball in harm's way. He plays with a level of discipline that gives him a high floor, and his anticipation gives him a real long-term upside, I think. When you stack all of that together, the size, the processing, the accuracy, the poise, you get a quarterback who fits a perfectly timing-based NFL system. He's not the flashiest prospect in the class, but I think he is one of the most reliable. My model reflects that as well. I mean, he grades out as a high-end starter projection with the traits to become a long-term answer for a franchise that values structure structure and consistency. He's the QB1 for me because he plays that position the way it's supposed to be played, on time, in rhythm, and it can be complete command of the offense. So.
Yeah, like when you, man, it's like as you're reading all the strengths of his game, and I'm just picturing, I'm just like mentally picturing him going to the Raiders. I think that's what we all kind of assume is going to happen.
Right.
I just see Rich Gannon. Like I see this like highly accurate, anticipatory throw guy, right? Like Gannon was that. I mean, Gannon could put the ball in the tightest windows where literally only his guy could get it. It wasn't always like, 60, 70-yard bombs. Sometimes it was just like a little 8-yard, cross. Like stop over the middle, find the soft spot in the zone, throw it down and away, just throw it to the right spot on time.
Right.
And that's why that Raiders offense really clicked. And if you can get Mendoza in there, and like you said, I think it's the fact that he doesn't feel the need. He doesn't get flushed out of the pocket and want to go out and around and backwards and around and create that you have time away from where you can throw. Like you said, it's the climbs. Like he steps up into the pocket, steps up into the mess. He's pretty good. He's not super fast.
He's not the best, but I mean, you saw in the college football playoff when he scored that clutch touchdown. I mean, if he's got the dog in him, he's got the heart. He's gonna try to get the yards regardless. If he can't make the throw, he's gonna try to run. So
yeah, and maybe they'll want him to avoid some hits like that.
Sure, of course. Yeah,
but yeah, that was, you needed that at that point. It was 4th and 4, right? You had to do it. You can't hold back on that. But yeah, I thought that was a great run, and for a guy who's got enough size to do that every once in a while. He's not going to be Josh Allen out there. That's fine, But yeah, I just keep picturing Rich Gannon. I don't know if I'm way off on that projection or not, but it just feels like that's the type of quarterback. I mean, not the biggest arm, not going to throw. I mean, Gannon can throw the ball downfield, and I think Mendoza can. I think it certainly helps him that TK doesn't want to hear any of that, but I think it helps him that and TK just having some Wi-Fi issues. We'll get him back in a moment, but it could be the snow. It's wreaking havoc on everybody. It's nobody likes to see the snow, even our routers. So. But yeah, I feel like I said, just sort of a like I said, a Rich Gannon type of guy, climbs in the pocket, steps up into the pressure, able to make the throw on time, able to get it there, anticipate guys coming a little bit. And yeah, I just think, and I'm picturing him playing indoors too. I think that's going to help him.
Right.
Like you said, not the biggest arm in the class necessarily. Is not Jamarcus Russell throwing the ball 75, 80 yards from his knee or whatever. Which that didn't work out for Russell at all. You have to know the offense, but but yeah, I think he's the easy overall number 1 pick,
sure.
Right? I don't think there's any question about what's going to happen there. Who is your next quarterback? Is there a big gap between the two? I mean, do you have a pretty large gap between 1 and 2, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought.
Yeah. I don't have the specific ranking. I'm pretty sure. My QB2 is also not consensus. I have Carson Beck as my QB2. A lot of people have Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson's my QB5. So. Okay. I mean, maybe 4. Trinidad Chambliss was 3, but we know his situation right now. So
that whole saga, yeah.
But nonetheless, Carson Beck. I mean, he could get drafted late second round. Some of these guys are going to get drafted. If not late second round, third round. But I do like Carson Beck in the NFL. I think he translates really well. I think he's the kind of quarterback who looks like he's been preparing for the NFL for years. He brings that classic build, 6'4", 220 plus. But what defines him isn't the frame. It's the way he runs an offense. Everything about his game feels controlled, deliberate, and professional. He plays like somebody who understands the assignment on every snap. His development path obviously was a big part of that as well. He spent years learning behind veteran quarterbacks at Georgia. And when he finally stepped into the starting role, he operated the offense, with a level of polish, and you really see from a first-year starter for sure. The move to Miami didn't change anything, maybe other than his accent. But a new system, new personnel, new command. His coaches rave about how quickly he processes information, how comfortable he is, handling a full playbook as well, which just shows maturity and intellect as well. His strengths show up immediately on tape. He's a timing-driven passer that thrives in structure. His ball placement is consistently sharp, especially in intermediate throws, just as Mendoza as well. Where he does the most damage, I think. He understands leverage, understands spacing, and throws with anticipation that allows him to beat defenders to the spot as well. He's not someone who waits for receivers to uncover. He throws and he trusts, and it's all about rhythm. So mechanically, he, I think, is one of the cleanest quarterbacks in this class. His base stays balanced. His release is efficient. He doesn't waste movement in the pocket. When pressure shows up, he handles it with maturity as well. Subtle slides, quick resets, no unnecessary drifting either. He's not a creator in the mold of a modern off-script playmaker by any means, but he's mobile enough to avoid sacks and keep the offense on schedule. His arm talent fits his style as well. He's not going to blow you away with pure velocity at all, but he throws with excellent touch and trajectory as well, just like Mendoza as well. Layers those balls naturally and understands how to attack windows without forcing throws when they aren't there. His deep ball is also built on timing and placement. When you stack everything together, I think the size, the accuracy, the processing, the intellect, the poise, the experience. You get a quarterback who can step into an NFL building and run a system from day one. He isn't the flashiest prospect by no means, even in this class, but he's one of the most reliable operators. He elevates structure, protects the football, and gives you a stable foundation to build an offense around. He is my QB2 because he brings a steady high floor profile that translates immediately. He's the kind of quarterback who makes your offense more efficient the moment that he steps on the field. So,
okay. This reminds me of a lot of the things that same things that people said about Bo Nix.
Sorry, I have kids running upstairs right now.
The Astros playing today? I what's happening? I thought
my children running upstairs. Sorry.
It's fine. I really thought the Astros were playing. I thought, man, we're doing it all right. It's first couple of days of spring training. No, I think that, he sort of reminds me. Well, he doesn't remind me, but it just the words, like, it just reminds me of the things that people were saying about Bo Nix coming out. I thought he did a nice job, specifically against Ohio State and in the college football playoffs. I watched them a little bit. That first game for them was kind of a wash. The weather was wild, but I thought he did a nice job of, like you said, just the intermediate throws, like layering those throws. And TK does not want to hear that. Does not agree with me at all. And Brian's gone too. But yeah, I thought Beck did a nice job of kind of layering the throws into that intermediate, that second kind of, like, not throwing the ball downfield, but over linebackers in front of safeties. I thought he did a nice job. Like Ryan said, he has great touch. So I think that bodes well. Again, the Browns don't need a quarterback, but I mean, we're just looking at quarterback prospects in general. You could make the case that maybe the Browns do. Hey, don't be switching sides with me. What are you doing there, buddy? I don't know, Ryan. I was just saying, I'm not sure what you heard when you stepped away, but Beck I thought he does a nice job, like you said, of just kind of layering the throws into that secondary, kind of like that second tier of throws, like not deep throws down the sideline. He does a fine job there. I thought he had a couple nice back shoulder throws, and ball's fine. But just layering it in, like, over top of the linebacker in front of the safety, I thought he had, again, like you said, great touch there. We're getting everybody's coming back. Hey, welcome back, fellas. But yeah, who is now? You said that's a pretty big gap. How many first-round quarterbacks do you have?
Just Mendoza, and I don't even necessarily in other drafts. I mean, he might, he could slide to Kenny Pickett size, but I think that, with the need and his style, he's definitely going to be the first overall pick for sure. I mean, it would be stupid not to. If not, they're going to trade it out. But he's going to be the first overall pick. But yeah, he's the only one that is worthy of a first round pick. So
yeah, I think TK agrees with both of us. He's putting up the one over there. But how many teams are going to reach? Right, teams do it every year. They're probably going to be at least maybe you think 2 other guys that go in the first round that maybe don't necessarily belong there. I'm curious. I'm Question. That's my name. I'm Question. Words are hard, Ryan. But I'm curious, who else do you have on your list of quarterbacks? Who's the third guy?
Third guy I have is Drew Aller.
Okay.
Quarterback at Penn State.
We've talked about Drew Aller a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to break him down real quick, or just?
Sure, because I think he was an intriguing guy. I mean, I think he was a guy a lot of people were looking at for the Browns one day. I think Drew Aller felt like that natural connection, right? Northeast Ohio guy, playing right here in the Big Ten, used to the cold weather. I think a lot of people thought that Drew Aller to Cleveland was a kind of a natural thing. So yeah, let's talk about it.
So he is one of the most physically imposing quarterbacks in this class, and his tape definitely reflects that. 6'5", 240. Sorry if you hear my kids running upstairs. I asked them to stop, but they're children. So and he brings a power-based profile that stands out immediately. Big frame, big arm, and a style built around operating from the pocket with patience and control. He's not the type of quarterback who wins with flash. He wins by playing on schedule, trusting structure, and using his size and arm strength to attack defenses while the play is being designed. He went to Penn State with massive expectations, as you alluded to. In his early years, he showed that, exactly why the raw tools were obvious. What changed over time is the maturity in his approach. He's become far more disciplined with his reads, more comfortable working through progressions, and even more willing to take on, the defense, what the defense gives him instead of hunting down big play every snap. When he is in rhythm, he throws a very, very catchable ball, especially in the intermediate areas. A lot of these top guys are really great in those intermediate areas. Obviously, that's what translates well to the NFL. His arm strength is a real asset. He can definitely drive the ball into tight windows and push it vertically without needing a perfect platform. He's at his best in play action concepts, and when he can set his feet, see the whole field, and let the ball rip. His deep ball is more about timing and trajectory than pure power, but he does still have a very strong arm. He has no trouble stretching the field when he identifies leverage early as well. The inconsistencies show up in his mechanics. I think, when his base stays control, he looks like a high-end starter. But when his feet get wide, his sequencing starts to drift. The ball can spray, especially on outbreaking routes. Those mechanical lapses are correctable, but they're part of the evaluation. The encouraging part is that he rarely looks rattled. Even when the pocket gets tight, he stays tall, keeps his eyes up, works within the structure of the play. Athletically, I think he's more functional than dynamic. He's not going to be, a design run quarterback, but he can move well enough to avoid sacks and extend plays when needed. His mobility is more about survival than creation. And that's perfectly fine for the style of quarterback that he is. When you look at the full picture, I think he projects as a developmental starter with a high physical floor. The size, the arm, the poise, those are traits that you can definitely build around. The next step is tightening the mechanics and improving the consistency of his timing. If he lands in a system that he leans onto play action, progression reads, and vertical concepts, he has a clear path to making a reliable long-term starter. He's my quarterback 3 for me because he brings a rare combination of size and arm talent paired with the steady temperament and a willingness to play within a structure. He's not a finished product, but the foundation is strong, and with the right development, he can become a quarterback that you can win with for a long time. So,
okay, and TK, I'm kind of curious to see what you think about Aller. I mean, first of all, how do you like him? And second, do you think we would be talking about him maybe in more in the vein of a first-round pick if he hadn't gotten hurt there at Penn State?
Well, I do believe that he would have been a first-round pick had he not gotten injured, had Penn State not had the terrible season that they had, which was an absolute year from hell. But yeah, I definitely think a lot of people were willing to kick the tires on Drew Aller, and still are. I would not be surprised if he found a way to weasel his way into the first 3 rounds. I see a lot of people, project him to go 5th, 6th. Like, you guys are really stupid. You do know that the NFL, people in that league pay attention to aesthetics more than anything. So,
Gabriel went in the 3rd round, guys. What are you talking about?
That's the one exception in which aesthetics did not overall of the NFL. We can blame Kevin Stefanski solely for that crap. But anyway, people are going to be intrigued by the size, the skill set, the rocket arm. So somebody's going to kick the tires on him a lot earlier than a lot of people think. Does he weasel his way into the first round? To be quite honest with y'all, I would not be surprised in the least bit if somebody saw that 6'5", that 240, that 4'5", 4'6" speed, ability to get in and out of the pocket, make plays down the field, both with the arm and with the legs. Listen, I would not be surprised at all if somebody said, you know what, let's go ahead and put our balls on the table and take a swing on this Drew Aller kid and see what the hell we got exactly. Because there aren't too many guys that are 6'5", 6'6", with immense athletic ability, as well as the big arm to pair with that. So, and especially if he has a good combine, good pro day. Come on now.
I can see it, but if I'm betting, I'm going to go for Taylor Green to be that guy that sneaks in the first round personally from Arkansas. But I could definitely see it. I don't know though. I don't think it'll happen, but we'll see.
I think the one area where Aller really, really improved through college, from his first couple starts at Penn State until now. Unfortunately, with the injury, it's we didn't get to see the full development. But like you said, right, it was just like the piece in the pocket, right? He was He actually was. His first year as a starter, he was very easily rattled. But under pressure, I can remember when they played Ohio State. And I mean, Aller was throwing balls like to the sidelines that were 10, 15 yards over a receiver. I mean, he just was nowhere near accurate.
Right.
He really wasn't even getting hit that much. He was just very uncomfortable in the pocket. It seemed like he just, Sam Darnold said he was seeing ghosts. I mean, it kind of felt like it was a similar situation with Drew Aller. He just was very uncomfortable in the pocket. Just no accurate throws at all. I think he's improved. I mean, like immensely, right? Exponentially, really. To be honest with you on that, I think he's gotten a lot better. And yeah, I mean, I can see him being a late second round, early third round pick. But like TK said, somebody always stretches. Somebody always reaches a little bit too far and says, hey, like, did you see the guy throw it, whatever, pro day? I don't know if he'll throw at the combine or not. He feels like a pro day kind of a guy, right? He feels like he'll throw at the Penn State pro day, maybe not go to the combine and throw. I'm not really sure. But then again, with him being a second or third round pick, maybe he feels like if he goes to the combine and throws well, maybe that'll get him into the late first round. Who knows? I think he's in a weird spot, and I'm not really sure where he's at with the injury. It was a broken ankle, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Ankle? Okay. Well, obviously he had surgery. That's better than tearing a ligament. So I'm not sure if he had any soft tissue damage with that as well or not. I really don't have all the details, but hopefully he can get back. I mean, you never wish any ill will upon anybody. I hope he gets back and has a nice NFL career. Like I said, especially, Northeast Ohio guy. Any other quarterbacks, Ryan, that you want to talk about? Anybody else on your list that kind of like you mentioned one?
Yeah, I could talk about. So, like I said, if I think this guy is going to be a combine darling.
Okay.
Quarterback out of Arkansas, Taylor Green. I talked about him on the Commissioner's Couch this week. He's my QB8 right now, but if I had one sleeper, it would probably be him. I mean, his athletic profile is incredible. 6'6", 220. He's got long arms, massive wingspan, and rare size speed traits. He's a true dual threat quarterback with a powerful arm and the ability to generate explosive plays both on the ground and through the air. He fits in spread, RPO heavy, or movement-based offenses that lean into quarterback run elements and vertical shots as well. He started at Boise State, where he quickly built a reputation on being a big play machine. Long runs, deep shots, off-script creativity. This guy had it all. His transfer to Arkansas put him in the SEC. While the jump exposed some inconsistencies for sure, it also highlighted just how rare I think his physical tools are. Coaches are consistently praising his toughness, his competitiveness, his leadership presence, and he's a trait-driven prospect with a high ceiling and a wide developmental runway. I think he's a size speeds outlier who brings real juice to both the runner and passer. As a runner, he accelerates quickly for his size, eats up ground with incredibly long strides, and can turn up broken plays into chunk gains. As a passer, he has a strong arm capable of attacking all three levels. His deep ball has real velocity and trajectory. He can generate power even when throwing off platform, and when his mechanics are aligned, he definitely throws with touch and timing, but the consistency isn't always there. Mechanically, he's still developing. His footwork can be loose, his base can widen, his release can drift at the point, which leads to scatter shot accuracy. But in the pocket, he moves actively and can climb or slide, when he stays disciplined. But he'll also drift or escape prematurely at times as well, which can lead him into, get running into sacks. When he's balanced, the ball comes out clean. And, when he's not, the variant shows up quickly. His arm talent is one of the strongest in this class by far, probably the strongest.
Okay.
It can drive the ball into tight windows, attack vertical shots, like I said, with ease. And his velocity, can be thrown from any platform, basically. I'm not saying he's Pat Mahomes, but just see Pat Mahomes throw from the sidearm. He can do that stuff. Okay. I mean, his touch and layering abilities flash as well, but are definitely inconsistent. He's more of a power thrower right now than a precision one. But his athletic profile, like I said, this is where he definitely separates himself. 6'6" quarterback. His speeds and acceleration, words are hard, are rare. Definitely a legitimate design run threat. Zone reads, QB keepers, boots, movement concepts that fit naturally into his game. He consistently turns broken plays into explosives and forces defenses to defend the entire field. I think he projects as a high upside developmental starter with one of the most unique physical profiles in this class. He fits the best in an offense that embraces, like I said, RPOs, movement concepts, run elements for the quarterback, vertical shots. Definitely needs refinement in mechanics, timing, and progressing discipline, but the ceiling is absolutely there, probably the highest in this class. With patience, coaching, and a system tailored to his strengths, he has the potential to become a dynamic NFL starter who can generate explosive plays both through the structure and improvisation. So,
yeah, and ironically,
I love his tape.
Yeah, and as you sit there and read about him, or not read about him, but as you sit there and talk about him, I'm just hearing the words, and it's like I'm picturing an AFC North quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, 6'6", 220 is unbelievable. You would think that naturally he's going to put on 15, 20 pounds as he goes, as he matures, and
but hopefully he doesn't lose speed for sure. Yeah,
right. But it sounds like he's got a little bit of speed to burn, regardless. Even if he does lose a whatever small percentage of time on the 40 or whatever it is. Sort of reminds me of I feel like some of these guys with the bigger arms, they do struggle with a little bit of accuracy issues, right? Because they've never really learned that velocity, that power, gets them out of a lot of trouble. They've never really, sometimes they don't have to learn, great accuracy until they get to a higher level, because the arm power can kind of get you through, right? You can throw it around a guy, over a guy, through a guy, not through a guy. That would be terrible, but you know what I mean? The exit wound on that. Anyway, I think it's just I don't know. It's kind of an intriguing prospect. And like I said, the more you talk about him, the more I think AFC North, and then I start thinking like, well, I mean, could you imagine, it's almost like some of the knocks on Lamar Jackson were consistency and accuracy coming out. He has honed that. I think he's gotten much better. Could you imagine a guy at 6'6", 225, 30 that can move like that? Like,
right.
That's intriguing. The Browns really aren't in a position where drafting a quarterback would be smart. So
if these are in the third, I would take him.
Okay, fair enough.
I would. I mean, I understand that. Last year I talked about how we have 1 year to figure out what we have in Shedeur before we draft another quarterback in 2026. But obviously that draft class was pushed back to 2027, and we'll also have that reality next year with any quarterback. Before either we're going to figure out who we have next year, or we're drafting a quarterback in the first round of 2027. Nonetheless, man, his attributes are special physically. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if you're a believer in Arch Manning or any of the other guys that are, kind of lumped into this next draft class or whatever, maybe you like one of those guys. I think it's probably a little bit deeper class, but that's a guy that kind of intriguing. I mean, TK, 6'6", 220 sounds nice in the AFC North to start out. Like I said, a little bit of a basketball player build. He's probably going to add 10, 15 pounds of muscle to that. But I don't know, TK, you take him in this offense, wouldn't you? I mean, at least take a flyer and see what he looks like in this offense. No. Okay.
Oh my gosh, dude. That was so funny. Oh, hey.
It's always perfect time. Hey, you're back. What's up, buddy? I'm not sure if you heard my question, but how are you feeling about 6'6", 225, 230 in an AFC North offense like Cleveland? It'd be kind of fun, right?
Well, yeah, that'd be great. For the longest time, that was what everybody in the AFC North wanted. You think for the longest time, all those battles between Ben Roethlisberger and Joe Flacco that went down to the absolute last millisecond of regulation or what have you. I do think times have changed though, because you think once we got Baker Mayfield, you had a lot of Steelers and Ravens fans saying, "Oh, he's too small to handle the AFC North," but he was able to win the games that he did, and he was able to win a playoff game against an AFC North team, AFC North division winning team. So I do think things change. But at the same time, to have a big quarterback with a rocket arm that could handle, the howling winds of Lake Erie, those messy snowstorms that we tend to get, those snow globe type games that tend to happen in the city of Cleveland, November and December. It would be nice to, kick around the tires with that. But, at the same time, I don't think it's imperative.
I agree.
Fair. I just don't think taking a quarterback is a great idea. I mean, if you're going to add depth to the quarterback room, I just feel like you're going to have 3 guys on the roster that are in their first or second year, and I feel like that's too much. It's too much of a log jam to really have a chance to figure out what you've got in those guys, right?
I agree.
And when you have so many other holes, it's not a good time. It's not a good time. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk. We're going to talk tight ends when we come back. We're going to skip over running backs. No offense to the running backs. We like running backs here. We it's the AFC North. We use running backs. But I think we're really set on running backs right now. I think the running game is the running game isn't fine, but the running back position, the running back room looks good. We're not going to add anything to that. So let's talk tight ends when we get back. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break. Before we go, I want to just put up, there we go. There's the fellas are. It's the Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast with Kyle Cornell and Anthony Alford. Kyle and Anthony AA they're gonna navigate the road to WrestleMania with you. All right. Join the guys as they preview this weekend's Elimination Chamber PLE event. You can catch the Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast this Friday morning right here on the Inside Edge Network. It'll be on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever. And also the Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast YouTube and Facebook channels. So do not forget Friday morning to tune in to the Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast. And listen, guys, while you're out there, you're watching us. We appreciate you. But you might as well follow us as well. We've mentioned it before. We're completely grassroots here. You can find us everywhere. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're maybe 5-6 years off of being on MySpace. We just missed that boat. But we would have been there if MySpace was still a thing. We'd be there. So again, we're totally grassroots. Started from the ground up. Your support truly matters. So again, if you're watching us, just click the follow button. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on YouTube, wherever you're watching us, Facebook, wherever it is. We appreciate that. And also you want to be subscribed and you want to be notified when we go live so you don't miss any new content. There is so much going on here during the week. Eli and I are going to have you. We're going to have you Monday through Thursday. We'll get your sports fix in, not totally late night style, but it's your nightly sports fix. We'll be on Monday through Thursday at 10 o'clock. And then just after us, you can catch AA Anthony Alford on Midnight Run Monday through Wednesday. It's starting at midnight. So listen, there's Sunday morning content here. There's weekday nighttime content. There's after hours content. We've got everything for you guys. Literally everything from sports to mental health, everything in between. Like I said, if you could follow us on every social media platform that you see us on, we would definitely appreciate that. But again, we'll be back in about 5 minutes. We're going to talk tight ends. And we are just really going to talk a little bit of Guardians. It's spring training's kind of ramping up. Games are getting played. They start. I love how in spring training baseball you can go 2-0 in one day without a doubleheader. That's fun. So the Guardians started off 2-0 out in Goodyear with two split squad games. Whatever, that's fun. Baseball's fun. So we'll talk about that when we come back again in about 5 minutes on the Inside Edge Network. We'll be right back. Hey, I guess we have to be up here for this to work. Uh-oh. What are we doing? Well, guys, it's like we're shuffling a deck of cards. Hey, welcome back to the Sunday Sports Show on the Inside Edge Network. Just, during the break, it looks like what happened to my hair during the break here? Kind of a wind tunnel. That's fine. It's a day. It's a whole day today. Just a quick reminder to visit our sponsor for the entire Inside Edge Network at allyrosefragrances.com. And to use our code for 20% off your entire order, Inside Edge 20, capital I, capital E, it's all one word, to get your candles, your body mists, again, all natural ingredients, cruelty-free, vegan, just, a lot cleaner burn. They smell amazing. As I said, we're currently burning the Autumn Day candle in my wife's office. It smells phenomenal. It just smells so clean and so good. So please visit our sponsor and please help her out. allyrosefragrances.com and use our code Inside Edge 20 at checkout to get 20% off your order. So we're going to get back to the heavy lifting of Ryan Mossor's big board. Looking much more in shape than he did last week. Last week, it's just that sometimes you have to fast and you end up, you lose a couple pounds and then you hit it really hard for a week and you look like this. So let's get into tight ends. Let's talk about, we're going to skip over the running backs today. We know there are probably some good running backs. What's that?
It's a generational one.
Yeah. There's some good ones. But we gotta leave that alone. We can't touch that. We can't do that. We cannot be seen drafting a running back when we need 513 offensive linemen. Like you can't do that.
No, for fantasy football purposes, I hope Jeremiah Love goes to the Chiefs. So
yeah, phenomenal talent. Wow. Stuck at Notre Dame in that mediocrity. No, they're good. I'm just kidding. It's just fun. I don't know why Notre Dame and Ohio State take so many shots back and forth. I don't know if it's just a regional. They barely play, right? Obviously played the national title game a year ago. I get that. But it's just funny. That guy's transferring there and taking shots. It's just weird. Whatever.
I mean, it all started with AJ Hawk and his and Brady Quinn fiasco with AJ Hawk dating Quinn's sister, and then she had the split jersey. And then obviously their head coach is a former Buckeye. So
yeah. There's some familiarity there. I thought that was Mylan Graham's. They talked to him about academics, with the difference between Notre Dame and Ohio State. Notre Dame just doesn't offer online classes. I think some people took that as a shot at Ohio State. I don't necessarily think that's what that was. But the perception is, I guess perception is key, and people perceive that to be a shot at Ohio State. I don't think that's how Graham meant that. When I watched that back, when I watched him saying it, didn't feel like, whatever. People get so sensitive about Ohio State. I'm a Buckeyes fan, but geez, man, come on, grow up. All right, big board, tight ends. Who, Ryan, is your number one tight end on the board? But I'm not sure we're looking for a first-round guy here in Cleveland, but I think you could use some depth behind Harold Fannin. You probably need a decent blocker, guy who can maybe catch some passes in a pinch. You don't need a super dynamic talent there, but you do. They're going to need some tight ends. So tell me what you got, man.
Yeah, my tight end one is consensus tight end one, Kenyon Sadiq, tight end out of Oregon. He is one of the most natural receiving tight ends in this class, I think. The kind of athlete that makes the position look effortless, I think. At 6'3", 240 pounds, the big boy. He brings the frame that you want, but it's not, the way that he moves that really separates him. He glides through routes like, a big slot receiver. Snaps off breaks with fluid hips and consistently finds space even when defenders stay tight to his hip. Excuse me. So, you showed a picture of me being buff, but I just went upstairs and had an egg roll and a cookie before here now, so I have some indigestion. So excuse me. Nonetheless, his breakout as a wideout shows up immediately. Clean release, controlled pacing, an instinctive feel, for how to attack leverage as well. I think what makes him so intriguing is how comfortable he is in every layer of the passing game. He can work underneath, uncover quickly. He can win in the intermediate windows with body control and timing. And he has enough vertical juice to threaten safeties at the seam. His ball skills are advanced. He tracks naturally, adjusts midair without losing balance, and plucks the ball away from his big frame, with soft hands as well. He's definitely unique here. He's the type of tight end who expands the strike zone for a quarterback. As a blocker, he's not a finished product by all means, but he's far from a liability, I would say, especially with his frame. He understands angles, plays with effort, and stays attached long enough to keep plays alive. He's more, of a sustain and mirror blocker than a people mover right now. But the technique is trending upwards, I think, and the frame still has enough room to add strength in the NFL. The important part is that he's willing. He's a willing blocker. He competes, he strains, and he doesn't shy away from contact. Mentally, he's ahead of the curve, I think. He processes coverages very quickly, adjusts his routes on the fly, and understands spacing within the structure of the offense. His alignment versatility is a major asset. Inline, slot, wing, motion. He's comfortable everywhere, I'd say. That flexibility gives coordinators the ability to disguise intentions and create matchup problems without changing personnel, which is a really big advantage. Athletically, he checks every single box for a modern tight end prototype in the NFL. He accelerates smoothly, changes direction without wasting motion, and carries long enough speed to enforce defenses account for him vertically as well. He's competitive after the catch and has the balance to slip through contact and turn routine completions into chunk gains, not to mention his strength in general. He's going to be hard to take down. When you put it all together, Sadiq projects as a high-end starter with legitimate tight end one upside. His receiving skill set is already advanced. His football IQ is very strong. His blocking is, on a clear upward trajectory, as I said. As he continues to add strength, he has the potential to become one of the more dynamic mismatch tight ends in the league. The kind of player who can be featured in a creative passing attack and stress defenses from every alignment, I think. He's my tight end one material because he brings the exact blend of athleticism, versatility, and receiving polish that today's NFL demands. He's a matchup problem waiting to happen, and his best football is still ahead of him. I'm very excited about this guy in the NFL and specifically fantasy football.
Okay. All right. I mean, it sounds excited. First, Twan Hampton says, "Good pod, guys. Thanks, Twan. Appreciate you." Says, "Go Cavs."
Thanks, buddy.
Right? Yeah, appreciate you, Twan. I think sometimes one thing you said in there that I picked out that's key with tight ends is just understanding the spacing and where to go to be an asset, to be open in the passing game, right? A lot of tight ends they're not gonna blow you away running routes so quickly that they get loose and shake. They're not gonna do that. But it's just about using the size, right? 6'3", 240 to get to the middle, find a soft spot in the zone if they're playing zone, whatever it is, or how to shield off a guy. Most likely, you can pretty much shield off anybody in man coverage at 6'3", 240. I'm not going to outrun them, but you use the size and use that leverage or whatever. And I think that's the biggest thing sometimes for a tight end. That seems to be the biggest struggle for pass catchers at tight end, right? Like just how to be a pass catcher. It's again, you're not going to get on top of the defense and outrun everybody. Not going to happen for the most part. Most tight ends don't do that. But I mean, if you do, you're very very special. But I think that's a key. That's a key feature of a tight end, just knowing when and where to go and how. Right. Who do you? I don't want to ask you who's going to take him. But do you see him going like mid first round, late first? Where do you see him going?
I could see him going 15 to 32. Okay. I think he'll for sure be a first-round pick. I think there's still more elite prospects in other positions, but as far as tight end, I think I don't think he's Brock Bowers, and Brock Bowers went 10th, I think it was. I'm not sure exactly. Around there. I don't think he'll get outdrafted compared to Brock Bowers, but he will definitely be drafted in the first round.
Okay.
I'd be surprised if he wasn't.
Okay. Now is tight end like quarterback? Do you have a gap between 1 and 2, or is it pretty? Do you have a lot of guys at the top, or where your tight ends sit right now?
So this actually isn't as big as a gap as other consensus. Actually, I have a guy who probably isn't in the top 5 of a lot of people's mock drafts, at least in rankings for tight ends. But I really love this next guy. His name is Justin Jolly. He's a tight end from NC State.
Okay.
I really like him. He could probably be a late first round pick. He's probably going to be a second or third round pick just because the priority of NFL teams. But I don't know, he's one of the definitely most physical, overwhelming tight ends in this class. A true size and strength mismatch who plays with who plays the position with a level of physicality that defensive backs simply aren't built to handle. I think at 6'6", 255, brings a frame that immediately changes how defenses have to match personnel. He's long enough. He's powerful. And he knows exactly how to use the body to tilt the advantage in his favor. Actually, I do college fantasy football C2C. I've had him on my team for the last 2 years, and he's won me one championship, and I went to a championship for the second one, just him alone. He's really good. I like him a lot. I think what stands out most about him is how naturally he wins through contact as well. He plays like a rebounder in traffic, boxing out defenders, extending late, finishing catches even when bodies are draped all over him. He's a quarterback's best friend on third down because he expands the margin for error significantly. I think if the ball is anywhere in his orbit, he's going to reach out and he's going to have the strength to make that ball his. He's not just a contested catch specialist. I think Jolly moves far better than most tight ends. His side specifically, he builds speed quickly, covers ground with long strides, and has enough fluidity to separate on crossers and seams as well. His route running is more polished than you'd expect from a player with his build as well. He understands how to lean into defenders, how to manipulate leverage, how to create windows without needing elite suddenness. He's a vertical stressor who forces safeties to widen their landmarks. As a blocker, he brings the temperament you absolutely want. He is strong at the point of attack, plays with a sturdy base, doesn't shy away from physical assignments. He's a mauler. He likes contact. The technique is still coming along. Pad level is a little bit concerning. Maybe some hand as well. Some consistency here and there, but the effort is there on every single rep, and it's clearly noticeable. He's not taking a rep off just because he's blocking. He's looking to destroy that defender. He's the type of tight end who can hold his own early and grow into a more complete blocker as he continues to refine his mechanics. Mentally, he's steady and reliable as well. I noticed he understands spacing well, adjusts to depth based on coverage. Consistently finds soft spot in zone as well. He's comfortable lining up all over the formation, inline, slot, wing motion, just like Sadiq as well. And that versatility gives him the offense ability to skive intentions without changing personnel, just like Sadiq as well. Athletically, he checks boxes for a modern, tight end. He accelerates smoothly. He changes direction better than most players his size for sure, and carries long enough speed to where he can threaten vertically. He's not a burner by any means, but once you get that body moving, it's he can take off a little bit. Combine that with his frame and competitive edge, and you get a tight end who can win multiple ways. When you stack everything together, I think that Jolly projects as a high tight end 2 with real path to becoming a tight end 1. He brings size, physicality, and downfield presence, traits that translate immediately into the NFL, immediately into the red zone and third down situations. And as his blocking continues to improve, he becomes the player who never needs to leave the field. So,
okay. Honestly, again, like you're talking me into this guy. Sounds kind of intriguing for the Browns. TK, don't you think that he would actually work really, really well within the Browns offense? I mean, we don't know exactly what Todd Monken's offense is going to look like, but we kind of do. We have an idea of what he did at Baltimore and probably an idea of what he's going to try to do in Cleveland, just with the personnel that are there. Doesn't this guy sound like he would absolutely fit into that?
Well, yeah, I think he loves the 2 tight end set. He got a bunch of that with Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. So I would not be surprised if they tried to kick a tire on one of these guys, Justin Jolly, Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt, Max Clare from Ohio State.
Okay.
I could see them taking a swing on the tight end, possibly in the 3rd or 4th round, and see if we can replicate those 2 tight end sets that they were able to run out in Baltimore. You definitely want a guy that is as good of a blocker as he is a pass catcher. You kind of want to refrain from those pass catching only guys when you run a 2 tight end set. But at the same time, if that's his best attribute, go ahead and run with it. But I definitely think that tight end could be on our radar in the 3rd or 4th round.
Yeah, for sure at a guy who can block a little bit and it can kind of help seal the edge because again, we don't know what the tackles are going to look like at all, or what the entire offensive line is going to look like for that matter. I'm intrigued by a bigger body guy who can not only catch some passes in a pinch and maybe help extend some drives on third and medium, 3rd and short, whatever, just by being that guy, right, who can go out and catch a ball with pretty much whatever's going on around him. But like I said, I'm also kind of intrigued by a guy who can help set the edge and maybe get, some of the speed that they have at running back to the perimeter and let him make some plays on the outside. So yeah, it's intriguing, man. And then hearing you, Ryan, say that he might slip to the third round. It doesn't feel like such a luxury pick when you take him in the third round, right? You need offensive linemen, you need wide receivers, but hey, snag a guy like this in the third round, that feels okay, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I'd be super happy, super happy. A lot of pieces. I mean, he's the offensive piece that we're going to need. That tight end too is imperative. I mean, there's speculation that maybe Isaiah Likely, as a free agent, can come over here and follow Monken and be in the system. I don't know. I mean, we have a lot of money allocated elsewhere. We're still going to be paying David Njoku with a dead cap hit. He's probably going to be a June 1st designation cut if he doesn't sign a contract, which obviously he said he wasn't. So. Trey Wingo is a guy who came out and said, I wouldn't hold on to that and take it with a grain of salt because he could be coming. No, he's not coming back. Let's be real.
He's requested a trade before, but this is different. That felt very final. That goodbye was final. Yeah.
Same thing with Wyatt Teller as well. So, yeah. Instead of talking about my tight end 3, my tight end 3 is Jack Velling, tight end out of Michigan State. I like him a lot, but I'm going to do something a little different. TK mentioned Eli Stowers. Eli Stowers, consensus, probably tight end 2, tight end 3 in this class. I have him as my tight end 21. So,
okay.
Like I said, this is not a mock draft. This is an NFL-based projection off of traits, and I'll explain why I have him as tight end 21. He's one of the most unusual evaluations in this tight end class. Because his game doesn't, fit neatly into a traditional buckets, I would say. He's a converted quarterback who grew into the position, and that background gives him a level of route intelligence and spatial feel that, most tight ends simply don't have. He's 6'4", 245 pounds-ish, and looks the part physically, but the defining trait in his game is, how naturally he moves and how well he understands the geometry of the passing game. He plays like someone who spent years, seeing the field from behind center for sure. Doesn't just run routes. He diagnoses coverages, adjusts his tempo, works himself into, open with, a sense of timing that mirrors what quarterbacks would want. He's smooth in and out of his breaks. He's comfortable working across the field, and he consistently settles into windows at the right moment. His hands are reliable, and he tracks the ball with ease, especially on throws that require midair adjustments. So, he's great, right? I mean, where the gap merges between consensus rankings and my model, at least, is in the physical profile. Stowers is athletic, but he's not a rare mover. He's fluid, but he's not explosive. He's coordinated, but he's not dynamic. He wins with craft and intelligence, not overwhelming traits. That matters when projecting tight ends in the NFL, I think, because the top players at the position typically, bring either dominant power or high-end athletic stress, and Stowers isn't built around either of those pillars, I'd say. The same theme shows up in, the blocking phase as well. He competes, he understands angles, and he's willing to mix it up, but he doesn't yet have the lower body strength or point of attack power to consistently hold up against NFL edge defenders. He's more of a positional blocker who survives with technique rather than someone who can dictate terms physically. That limits his early down value and places more weight on his receiving impact as well. This is why, my model lands where it does. Stowers grades well in processing, route field versatility, all legitimate strengths. Yeah. But, when you stack him against the top tight ends in this class, the difference shows up, in the traits, and, that translates to the traits that translate to a full tight end 1 usage, inline power, explosive athleticism, the ability to win matchups without relying on scheme. He's a good player with a clear role, but he's not built like the prototypes who anchor on offense. In the right system, he's, one that leads on motion, spacing, and layered route concepts. I do think he can be a valuable piece. He's very smart. He's flexible. He's a flexible tight end who can move around the formation and give a quarterback a dependable target, but he's more of a complementary weapon, I think, than a centerpiece. He's my tight end 21 in my model, not the tight end 2 or 3, because his strengths are real, but they're tied to nuance and intelligence rather than dominant traits. He's a useful, versatile tight end with upside, but he doesn't bring the physical profile or explosive ceiling, that define the top players at this position in the NFL, I think. So,
yeah, I think that's a lot. So many good points. I think with tight end, it's different than wide receiver, right? Like with wide receiver, you can have 4 or 5 guys on the field at one time. So you can take a guy that maybe is good at a lot of different things, but not great at any one thing. Unfortunately, I think with tight ends, if you're not great at one of those things, you don't get on the field much. It's not, in the NFL. But yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Just to kind of hear you go through everything, just sort of sounds like, not necessarily, I mean, maybe just a backup piece, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But not a guy you want to take second, third round.
Again, this doesn't reflect. He could be a second round pick. I mean, he probably, like I said, he's got a lot of hype. The combine's coming up. We'll see. But I mean, like I said, I'm not doing a mock draft here. I'm breaking down the players through the projection of the NFL. So
yeah, it just sounds like production wise, it sounds like maybe a little bit more the production you would expect out of a late third, early fourth round tight end, as opposed to, but whatever. Somebody may take him because of a physical profile or, pass catching ability, whatever.
Hype, name, stuff like that too is always, interviews, all these things. So
yeah, name familiar. Yeah, of course. Name recognition, familiarity is a huge thing. And you tend to get guys drafted from the schools that are like the now schools, right? Like guys who play, whatever, teams play well and guys get noticed. That's how it goes. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good breakdown. TK, any tight ends that you are intrigued by that Ryan maybe didn't mention, or anybody that it just feels to me like the tight end isn't going to come from the draft. It feels like any tight end depth that the Browns go out and get is either going to be some kind of a trade or probably free agency. Not a hugely expensive guy, obviously. You mentioned Isaiah Likely could probably, maybe come over and maybe you get him for a couple million less because he's following Todd Monken over. Who knows? But TK, anybody that kind of intrigues you, or anybody you've had your eye on, or?
Well, first and foremost, the outright gangbanging of Eli Stowers kind of shocked me, Ryan. But no, I'm just kidding.
Hey man, I'm just gonna be honest about it.
No, you're good, brother. I appreciate the honesty. Big thing for me, big find for me. With the free agent tight ends, obviously, I mentioned Isaiah Likely. And under the radar guy that I have is current New Orleans Saints tight end Foster Moreau. I definitely think he's going to be one of the more sought after free agent tight ends. Definitely excelled in the backup role. Now, the stats are not going to drive you crazy, but I think the big thing with Foster Moreau is going to be efficiency. He does make the most out of his targets. He is a fairly athletic cat at 6'4", just over 240. Definitely has solid hands, a much improved blocker from his earlier days with the Las Vegas Raiders. Managed to make himself into a viable option along that line, be able to move him in tighter and use him in some of those heavy packages. He definitely can't get off the ball and make some solid blocks. Not necessarily a people mover, but he will move in space to get to people to shield them off to make solid blocks. So that's definitely a guy that I definitely think should be on the minds of people in Berea, as free agency comes. Definitely a cheaper option. Remember, we do not have money to spend. We have to create money, try to pull money out of our ass that is there. So that's gonna be a big one. So I definitely think
where I keep my money, TK.
That's probably where they keep theirs because they got so much of it. But as the season goes on, as time goes on, better yet, it's starting to look more and more bleak because you got more contracts to restructure. You're already 13 million in the red. Those books do not look good at all. So you're going to have to look for lower budget players. Another guy at the tight end position that I tend to like a little bit. Denver Broncos is Adam Troutman, an elite blocker at the tight end position. The hands, not terrible, but a little suspect. He is slow as hell at the tight end. 4.9, 4.8, 4.9 type speed. Not necessarily a burner, but you get him down those seams, you get those intermediate routes going. He can make do with those. And he's very strong in the run game as well. It's going to help to have a guy like that. You can dump it off to him, put him in the screen game, have him do the little short ins and outs. Not a limited source of what you could do with him, but obviously this is a guy that excels with blocking. So that's one that I would definitely put in. Honestly, I like Detroit Lions' backup tight end Brock Wright as well. 6'6" guy, another guy that excels in blocking that you could dump it off to every now and again over the middle, seams, things of that nature. So yeah, there are a number of ways that we could go at tight end if we didn't want to draft one. I definitely think you're probably better off trying to draft one. This is kind of a soft rebuild. I know we don't like to use the R word. I know I hate using it, but you look at this roster, you look at what's going on right now, you're getting ready to lose your entire damn offensive line. So, and you already don't have any money. So you're going to have to go ham in the draft this year. So
13 million in the red and replacing the entire offensive line does not sound like fun to me, but hey, here we are. All right, listen, we're going to take a minute break. When we come back, we are going to talk just a little bit of Guardians. We're not going to break down the Guardians season or anything. I'm just going to ask you guys if you're excited for baseball to get going, and maybe I don't know, one player, one prospect you're excited to see this year. That's all. No big deal. We don't have to, like I said, spend a ton of time. It's still early in spring training. We got the World Baseball Classic coming up this year. I'm looking forward to that. There's all kinds of stuff. We'll get to see a little bit more of Travis Bazan. I think that'll be kind of fun to see him go play for Australia and maybe get a look at him on a little bit bigger stage, right? We've seen what he's done in the minors so far with an oblique injury, kind of shutting him down last year. Otherwise, he probably, I think, would have made his Guardians debut at some point. I know there's a lot of talk about, all those guys that got drafted around him at the top of that draft have already made their debuts. I mean, Nick Kurtz is already coming, rookie of the year, 36 home runs, whatever. So people are looking at Travis Bazan as being behind the 8 ball. I don't necessarily think that's true, but that's the perception, and perception is key. So that's one of the things we always talk about. But when we come back, like I said, I just want to talk about that when we get back after a 5-minute break, and then we'll close it out with what's on our minds, and we'll get you guys out of here so you can go watch Cavs OKC. We will be back in 5 right here on the Inside Edge Network. We appreciate Allie Rose and appreciate her being a part of the show. So let's see what order we're in when I take this down. Hey, look at that. I always love because you can't have any idea when you. Well, what's going on, Ryan? Get over there.
I don't think we heard a single thing you said until you brought us back right now.
Oh yeah, well that happens. That's okay.
You're just talking. I was like, what is going on?
I just like to talk sometimes. So
Okay.
I didn't know you couldn't hear me. That's unfortunate. Fortunate for you, but that's okay. So we want to get into we talked big board stuff. We talked Browns. We talked a little bit of Cavs. And the Cavs are starting right now against OKC. So just really quickly, guys, man, are we excited about the guard? Are you excited the baseball season's starting up? Ryan, let me start with you. Spring training, they're playing good. They're playing games in Goodyear, man. The Guardians are already 2-0, which is funny to me because not a doubleheader, but 2-0 after one day. So I mean, are you excited to watch baseball this year?
I'm ready, man. I'm excited. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this campus, has a completely different energy to it than previous recent years. I mean, you can feel the second you watch these guys stretch. This isn't just a show up and get your reps. Ease into March kind of spring. This roster is full of players who know that jobs are on the line. A lot of young guys. A lot of guys are treating it like every drill matters. Bo Naylor is taking charge behind the plate. Hedges and David Fry look to be right behind him. David Fry being that Swiss Army knife weapon. Infield, you got Rocchio, Arias, and Manzardo all trying to prove they deserve everyday reps, everyday roles next to Jose Ramirez. It's still he still sets the tone for the entire organization. And then there's the outfield. My God, the outfield. Chase DeLauder looks like a dude who wants to, break camp. George Valera finally looks healthy. Petey Haplin, keeps, making winning plays. The rotation, Quan in center field is experiment. That's fun too. The rotation battle is just as intense. Tanner Bybee, Gavin Williams, Logan Allen, Slade Ciccone, Joey Cantello. All are fighting for 5 spots. And the Guardians genuinely believe that this group can be one of the best young rotations in the American League if they stay healthy, of course. Depth guys like Tommy Mace, Jack Leftwich, are lurking too. And they're not just here to fill innings. They're trying to push for starting positions here. So it's going to be competitive. Obviously, the big cloud is, right now with Emmanuel Clase and the Luis Ortiz situation. They're on paid leave. There's no timeline, and the bullpen has to be rebuilt without those 2 guys. And they did a decent job of it last year. Look for Cade Smith to continue with that opportunity to prove that he's worthy of taking the 9th full inning, full time. Hunter Gaddis is throwing the ball well. Franco Alman is a sleeper as well. I think you can absolutely possibly steal a job in this bullpen as well. And you talked about it, Travis Benzano as well. The name everyone keeps bringing up, obviously. The first overall pick who really hasn't sniffed the MLB yet. He's in big league camp, which is great. He's talented enough to make this uncomfortable for sure. And the Guardians aren't, ruling anything out right now for sure, which is interesting as well. They're not going to rush him, obviously. But if he hits, if the approach holds up, if he forces the issue, they'll deal with that when it happens. But he's definitely one of the most watched players in Arizona for a reason. I'm excited. I think that, this team still expects to win the AL Central. They're obviously going for a 3-peat. They're going to do it with a roster full of young, hungry players who know that, this is their shot. And that can always be fun. The bullpen needs answers, obviously. The offense needs internal growth. And the kids need to step up. But the talent's real. The competition's real. And the vibe in Goodyear is exactly what you want heading into the season with, that much on the line. They just signed Riz Hoskins also today. I really like that signing. $1.5 million minor league contract. I think he could push first base maybe. I don't know. I'm excited. Don't know much what else to say here other than go Guardians, man. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, the Reese Hoskins thing came out of nowhere. I think they were catching some heat, for not doing anything in the offseason. TK, World Baseball Classic's coming up. Can Travis Bazzetta do anything to kind of speed up his time to get to Cleveland, or are they not worried about what Nick Kurtz and the rest of the the top 3 or 4 or 5 picks did last year? Are they just taking their time with him? But listen, we're okay. Realistically, we're probably about to lose next season due to a work stoppage. Okay, at least a good portion of it. Is that a reason for the Guardians? Do you think they want to get him here faster, or do they just take their time and say, hey, take a year in the minors, hone your craft, see you back in 2028. I mean, I hope that's not the case, but I don't know. What do you think, TK?
I definitely think you should just take things slow. Listen, just let him develop, let him work on his craft. There's no reason to yank him from the minors, and then he comes into the majors and loses all of his confidence because he can't do anything right. So just give him some time to develop his game, own his craft. Worst thing you could do is look at somebody else's success and say that's what you should be doing. We all have our own paths. We all have our own journeys. We all have, certain time limits on those journeys. We should do the exact same thing for this young man. He already has a ton of pressure on him as it is. Yeah. There's no need to double down on that. I know this pile-on culture that we have nowadays, it's kind of hard not to do that because people are just so ready to just jump down his throat. Give the young man some time to develop his game and to get up to speed. He'll be here in no time. On the other hand, baby, we got Reese Hoskins. I'm excited about that. We have definitely needed some power behind those bats for quite some time. Yeah, I get it. He only had 12 home runs last year, only played in 90 games, 66 RBIs. I get all of that. You get a healthy Reese Hoskins for the better part of 162 game season. Yo, we in the clear. I'm excited. I'm very amped for this Guardians team to take the field.
Yeah, I mean, it's a right-handed bat with some power. Finally, to help kind of protect Jose Ramirez in this lineup, you had to do something. You see the Tigers. I mean, they've got Tariq Skubal, and they just signed Framber Valdez. So they've got two lefty. I mean, they're 1-2 punches. They're lefties, right? The Guardians were so vulnerable to that without a bigger right-handed bat. So yeah, if Hoskins can get healthy and be kind of an anchor in this lineup, that could be a huge turning point.
What I like about sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, what I like about him is he's not just like a slugger. He's a professional hitter, which this team desperately needs. He work counts. He doesn't chase. He can bring a level of offensive maturity that helps stabilize this young lineup for sure. He's the type of guy who can lengthen the order, force pitchers to change their approach, and take pressure off guys like Manzardo, Naylor, and Jose. So,
yeah, a little more production from the right side is not a bad thing in this lineup. Sure. The other night on the Guardians preview show, I picked them to not win the Central. Listen, if Hoskins is healthy and he can make a big enough contribution, that might change my mind. I mean, that would be enough to move the needle for me. So, big signing. I just came out of nowhere. I didn't see that coming, but that's fine. So yeah, I'm excited, man. It's baseball season, right? I don't care if it's opening day or not. Once spring training game starts, baseball season for me. I really don't care. And I'm excited to watch the World Baseball Classic. I think it's fun to watch games at different locations all over the world. That's a lot of fun. Some of the qualifying stuff, and then when they get together, I think that's fun too. It's almost like a big travel ball tournament. It's a lot of fun to watch. So looking forward to that. But we're gonna get out of here. It's time. We've been on this for almost 2 hours now. 2 hours flies by, you guys. Sitting here talking about sports, I was thinking, man, we don't have enough to fill. I hope we can go an hour. We're almost 2 hours in. So you guys do an awesome job. I appreciate you guys for that. And now I think we just need to get to the point of the show. And I'm not sure who wants to go first. TK, Ryan, do you? Either one of you want to take the lead on this one?
I'll go first. He's gone first the last couple of times. So
fair enough. All right. We just want to talk about what's on our minds. So Ryan, tell us what you've been thinking about over the last week or so, man.
Yeah, man. I wanted to, take a moment to step away from sports and talk about something that's personal to me. Something that affects far more people than we've ever acknowledged. Men's mental health in general, but specifically men's mental health today. This isn't a topic that I bring lightly. For a long time, I carried things that, I never said out loud. I was a guy who looked calm on the outside, but was, literally screaming internally. I convinced myself that staying silent made me strong and that buried everything was the right way to handle it. And that silence nearly destroyed me. Many of you know, I've talked about it plenty of times, but I'm a former police officer. One point I hit where I genuinely believed I couldn't keep going. I was alone, overwhelmed, and convinced that nobody would understand what I was dealing with. I didn't go through anything with that night, but at one time, and I ended up resigning because of it. So, mental health issues are very, very real. But the fact that I even reached that point tells you how far I was gone mentally. And instead of getting help, I pushed it down and kept pretending I was fine. Never told anyone. Just silently resigned, and that was it. And that's what men are taught to do: keep it quiet, keep it contained, and keep it moving. Years later, during another dark period, my wife stepped in at the very last second. She saw that I'd been hiding it, for years, and refused to let me keep carrying it alone. That moment, didn't interrupt the crisis. It opened the door for counseling, honesty, and actual healing. It forced me to stop pretending, to stop and start talking. And that decision changed everything. It didn't fix me overnight, but it definitely saved my life. Now, almost 5 years removed from those dark moments, my life looks completely different. Celebrating 10 years of marriage in a few months. I have 3 beautiful sons who remind me every single day that life has meaning, joy, and purpose. I still have tough days, of course, everyone does, but now I face them head on instead of hiding them. I'm not ashamed of my feelings at all anymore. I'm not ashamed to say that I needed help, and I'm not ashamed to say that being open and honest is what pulled me out of the darkest place I've ever been. I'm sharing this today because we just lost. Obviously, we talked about at the beginning of the show another NFL player, Rondell Moore. I'm to mental health issues. That's 3 players in a year if you count Kyron Lacey, Marshawn Nealon, and now Rondell Moore. Those aren't just headlines. Those are human beings who, were carrying something heavy enough that they didn't feel like they could share it. And that hits me really hard because I know exactly, what that silence feels like. So if you're listening to this and you're struggling, please hear me. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're not a burden. You don't have to fight your battles alone. Talk to someone you trust. Reach out to a friend, a partner, a family member. Reach out to me, man. DM me. I don't care. If you can't talk to someone close to you, reach out to a counselor, a professional who can help you navigate what you're feeling. You deserve support. You deserve compassion. You deserve to stay alive. Life is precious. I almost missed out on mine because I thought asking you for help made me weak. It doesn't make you human. It might save your life the same way that it saved mine. If you're hurting, please reach out to someone today. You are loved, and you matter more than you realize. So, thank you.
Agreed. I couldn't agree more. I think just getting help. It's the first step to, shoving it down isn't the manly thing to do. I know we were, it's what we were taught to do for years. It does not help. You most likely, if you're in that situation, you can't figure it out on your own, and it's okay to ask for help. It's perfectly fine to collaborate. TK, tell me what's on your mind, man.
To be quite honest, I really just can't get Rondell Moore leaving this earth out of my head, and I definitely think probably the most begrudging thing about being a man is glossing over your failures. I do think as a person that has failed numerous amounts of times, I'm in a pit of failure right now. When you're alone with that, it can be painful. Obviously, any good man, any person with a good heart doesn't want to put anybody through any of the pain that they're feeling. You don't want to project your pain onto someone else unintentionally, but sometimes these things, they can be very hard. I know it may seem easy to say, just push through it, just keep holding on, just keep trying. But in the times where it isn't, I don't know if anybody's religious. I'm sure there are people. Is not a subject that I choose to dapper in. But when you feel like you're at the edge of rock bottom, or you just don't see any way out, I think the best thing to do is to go back in the archives and see what exactly it was that kept you around. What was it that made you say, hey, tomorrow's a better day, or maybe I will be fine continuing this journey. It could be so difficult, just like Ryan highlighted, the whole mental health thing. Like, listen, we can talk about how good it is, to talk about things and to share what we're thinking. Bottom line is, nobody can do anything but you. As much as we want to share, we want to be there for everybody. I used to have this complex in me that, I wanted to save the world, but, at the same time, I can barely save myself because I'm a flaming idiot. But, when in times like these, it's just like, it can be hard to put your finger on the one thing that has kept you around, that hopefully will keep you around and, help you flourish as you go on in this life. But, I really just want everybody to figure out what it is that they can do to, just stay alive. Because, as hard as life is and as hard as we try to be day to day, we say things, we say slick things that come out of our mouth because we're frustrated ourselves. People that seem that they have it all together, they're still, trying to check off all their boxes as well. I don't think everyone has every single last box of their life checked out. And to be quite honest, that can be very damning. That could feel like being trapped in a box with no way out, with no air, and you're just in there just dying.
Yeah.
But I can't help but think, if you were to take your own life away, what great blessings you could be missing out on, So I do sympathize deeply with Rondell Moore. Also, there was a young Jacksonville rapper by the name of Lil Papa, I think, that also took his life. You think these guys have it all together just because they have money and they have fame and people know and love them. There are some events in their life that cannot be reversed, that cannot be erased either. So, it's just a lot of folks out here just hurt, man. And, you think about it. The biggest thing I think that people strive for is financial security. We got to keep it real. A lot of people just want to be well off. They don't want to be in the way. They don't want to be in situations that they don't want to be in. So you're going to need financial security and money to be able to maneuver the way that you want to. And I get that. And sympathy and money don't always match up. They don't always match up. But at some point in time, I think we all need to figure out, like, hey, look, we know exactly what it is that we need. We know exactly how to go about being humans, being adults, doing what we need to do to make sure that our lives are right. But we got to make sure that we do it without having to stomp all over someone else. I understand the basis of adulthood is competition. In the workplace, with these athletes on the hardwood, on the gridiron. That's just the basis of it. Competition. It's gonna suck sometimes. It's gonna be hard sometimes. You're gonna want to do some explicit shit too, either to yourself or to other people. And the best thing that I can say is just keep the big picture, and keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah.
We just gotta keep trying our best, man. I hate that I rambled on that long about that, but this is an issue that I've been stuck on for a while. To the fault of my own, I take full responsibility for everything that I'm going through right now. Absolutely everything. So, just get in where you fit in. And if you do fit in, just try to make the best of it.
Yeah.
Be kind to people. You don't know what everybody is going through.
Yeah.
Most of us don't even know what we're going through sometimes. It could just be confusing. Best thing you could do is just keep your head up and push on. Definitely mental health is a big thing for all of us. I understand therapy doesn't work for everyone. Hey, listen, we got to be real here. Therapy is not just some magic pill that you choke down with your dinner after 6 p.m.
You got to work.
There are a lot of levels to this. So, Yeah, just to wrap that up, man, just continue to strive for happiness, continue to strive for greatness, continue to strive for wholeness, and rest in peace to both Rondell Moore and Lil Poppin. And that's my bit.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's no rambling. TK, the floor is yours, man. It's what's on your minds, right? But no, sometimes it's good to sometimes it's okay to just get it off your chest. Sometimes you've really got to you said therapy's not for everybody. It's not just you don't go talk to a therapist one time and instantly feel better. It doesn't work like that. You've got to work at it. But sometimes therapy is about finding what works best for you. Because people go, wow, these guys have all the money in the world. They play professional. What could they be depressed about? Depression isn't a mindset. It's not a way of thinking. It can be a chemical imbalance. It's not your fault. Okay. So many people think that depression equals weakness. Depression does not equal weakness. Depression equals some physical something that's going on in your brain that either is too much of something, not enough of something else, whatever it is. Sometimes it's medication. Sometimes it's that simple. One medication can fix a lot of things, right? You're still going to have tough days. No medication is there's no magic tool out there that's going to make you feel, euphoric every second that you're awake or anything like that. You've got to work at it still. You've got to find and identify the things that mean something to you, the things that are going to make you keep wanting to move forward, the things that sometimes it's about, just finding the joy in the progress, right? Not necessarily the end result. You can look at your life, TK, you mentioned it. You can say, I failed at this. I'm a failure. Well, you just haven't succeeded yet. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's not that you're a failure. Maybe you accidentally tried the 35 things that you're not very good at before you tried the 36th thing that you finally find that you're very good at. And that's okay. You're not going to be good at everything. You're not going to be good at a lot of things. It's okay to not be good at things. It's okay to feel like a failure. You need those failures in life to propel you to something else. I don't think anybody's really successful in picking the first thing that they love and having that go perfectly and you make millions of dollars and euphoria and joy come along with it. I mean, that's not the way the world works. So it's okay to try something and fail, and to try and fail, and to try and fail, and try and fail over and over and over again. It doesn't make you a failure. We all grow, and we all move at a different pace, right? We all find our thing at a different pace. So if you feel like you're buried in that and you feel like you need help, reach out. There are free resources. People say, I don't have money, I don't have time, whatever. This is your life. There's nothing more important than your life, especially to the people around you. The people that love you want you to be here. They want you to keep trying. They want you to they don't want you feeling bad. Reach out, even if it's just talking to a friend, a family member. I took the bottom thirds off. You've got our screen names right there. That's my handle on pretty much every social media. Like Ryan said, if you want to DM me, man. Listen, if you're struggling with something, I'm not going to judge you. I've been through it. I go to therapy myself. I'm on medication for ADHD, for anxiety. I understand how it works. It doesn't make me weak. If anything, I feel like it makes me straight. I finally had the strength to say, look, this isn't working. I've got a wife that depends on me. I've got kids that depend on me. I can't continue to just muddle through every day, barely figuring it out, feeling like I'm buried under the weight of just waking up and getting out of damn bed, man. And again, it's not a mindset. It's not that I didn't want to get up and spend the time with my family and go do things. I just couldn't. I physically could not do it. And the medication has helped me. It's helped me kind of regulate some of those thoughts, those feelings. I still have my tough days, sure. You're always going to have tough days, but it helps me, to, again, just talking through it at therapy, it helps me find something to keep moving forward. It helps me find the positive, right? For every negative thing that happens to you, try this. It sounds stupid, but try it. For every negative thing that happens to you over the next week, write down 5 things of why it's actually a positive. What you get fired from a job. Okay, now I have a new opportunity. I don't have to work 8 to 6 anymore. I don't have to drink that shitty coffee from the coffee pot, right? Like whatever it is, just find something, find some damn positive thing about it. And you'd be surprised how it can change your mindset, man. When you stop, it's again, the self-deprecate, it's fun to kind of make fun of ourselves. Sometimes we make jokes or whatever, but man, when you talk like that, your brain starts to believe, you program your brain to believe that you're a failure, that you're an idiot, that you're this, you're that. Try speaking to yourself in a positive manner for a week. Just try that for 7 days. Come back here next Sunday and see how you feel. But most importantly, reach out. There are free resources. There are websites. There are phone numbers. I'm not going to put them all up now, but you can Google it. You can find, better, whatever it is. You can find a therapist. You can find someone to talk to, someone that's going to be there for you, that can give you tools. And it may not be the first tool, it may not be the second tool, it may not be the 15th tool, but you can find something that works for you. And TK, you talked about it. Some of adulthood is being competitive. Be competitive with yourself. Just try to do a little bit better each day. You don't have to compare yourself to, your whatever, your neighbor, that friend or whoever that has $1 million home and, a bunch of whatever. That's not your story. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Be competitive with yourself. Do a little bit better than you did yesterday. Go a little bit further than yesterday. Just keep pushing yourself to find that little W every day. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to win the Super Bowl or win the World Series every single day of your life. Sometimes you can just win the at bat. You can win the rep. You can win the inning, whatever it is. Find the little wins, and the little wins start to add up. And then pretty soon, like I said, you stop talking about yourself in a negative way. You add up the little wins. Things start going for you in a positive way, man. Yeah, just please reach out. Ryan, I'm in the same boat. I was struggling bad. And at one point I just looked at my wife and said, I need help. I got to do something. I have to do something. So she found me a therapist. I have been with my therapist for, I don't know, maybe 3 years now. I'm talking to the same therapist, and I've grown so much. And I still have my bad days. I still have my days where I don't want to get out of bed. Again, it's not a magic pill. It doesn't fix everything. But it makes it better. It takes the edge off of some of those feelings. It takes the edge off of some of that weight. Just please, if you're struggling, please reach out. Don't want to ramble on it anymore. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. We appreciate you. Remember tonight, main event, Rob Zicki, Eli Moon, Anthony Alford, and then all week we've got all kinds of programming, literally everything from sports to mental health. We just spent a good 5 or 10 minutes on mental health here. If nothing else, we do care. And I'm going to put our screen names back up. There are our social media handles. I don't know what TK didn't necessarily invite, but listen, I don't want to, speak for anyone else. But Ryan and I are telling you, and I'm pretty sure TK would be okay with it too. If you're struggling, reach out. If this is what it takes, if this is what it takes to get you going in the right direction, I don't care. Reach out to me, man. I'll listen to you. I'm not going to judge you. Whatever. I can't give you. I'm not a therapist. I can't prescribe a medication for you. But maybe you talk to someone and you're like, man, that did feel pretty good to get that off my chest. I wonder if I did that once a week or once a month or whatever, how much better that would make me feel. You find it really takes the weight and takes the edge off of those things. So please, for your loved ones, for the people around you, just, find whatever it is that helps you keep going. And, it's never so bad that you need to, that you need to end it. So, yeah, just, we don't want you struggling. Just, we want you to be happy and healthy and joyful. So please keep that in mind. Again, just tune in to the Inside Edge Network. Follow us on all social media. We have a lot of talks like this. So maybe this is a good way for you to get some of this off your chest. You come and listen to this and you feel a little bit better about your day. If we reach one person, then, honestly, it's worth it. So thank you guys so much. We will see you next week. Again, programming all week on the Inside Edge Network. We've even got a new show debuting in March. We've got a lot going on. So just stick with us, and we appreciate you. We'll see you guys next week.